Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the folks here testifying today. I appreciate your time. My first question is for Mrs. Pickerington. You note that the following grounding of the 737 MAX, the airline industry employed a variety of mechanisms to cope with the disruptions. Southwest has the most 737 MAX air jets in operation of any carrier in the United States. Southwest is also the largest passenger carrier in Central Ohio. Can you discuss how Southwest and A4A member carriers have accommodated the loss of the 737 with minimal disruptions for service?
Yes, as I mentioned, the A4A carriers that had the MAX grounded have done several things, rebooking passengers, rerouting, but in addition to that, they've had to make systemic changes. They're utilizing spare aircraft. They're doing things like delaying optional enhancements like souped-up Wi-Fi and painting the aircraft. Unfortunately, we have had, our carriers have had to completely eliminate some service or take flights on markets that are more lightly flown and reduce frequencies. But for the most part, carriers have been able, like I said, to accommodate 99% of folks. We are anticipating that despite the capacity drawdown that Southwest, American, and United have had to do, we're going to see a 3% increase in seats overall this summer. And that's with other carriers filling in the capacity and different aircraft coming online also that are providing that capacity.
Okay, thank you very much. My next question is for Captain Carey and Captain Sullenberger. You both mentioned the need to ensure pilot training protocols are vigorous and robust, especially as aircraft are becoming more and more high-tech. I agree that passenger safety will always be the most important aspect of our aviation industry, and that our pilots should receive the best possible training. Are there any obvious or necessary changes you believe should be made to licensure requirements or pilot training?
Thank you, Mr. Balderson. I was interested to know that Boeing afforded Captain Babbitt, former Captain Babbitt, retired Captain Babbitt, the opportunity to utilize their simulator, the 737 MAX simulator, full motion down in Miami yesterday. Boeing invited two of our pilots who are here today, who have a cumulative of over 5,000 hours on the Boeing 737 aircraft, to use that simulator on June 5th. Shortly before that appointment, Boeing rescinded that invitation. So it's curious to me, while Boeing is working on this fix, they don't want the people who fly it to actually see it. So as far as the APA getting behind the software changes and the FAA certification, recertification of the 737 MAX return to service, we would like our safety committee chairman and our safety committee and training experts to be permitted to fly the 737 MAX simulator. The only one in existence right now in North America is in Boeing's facility in Miami. However, there is another one. It's in Addis Ababa. It belongs to Ethiopian Airlines.
Captain?
It needs to be a priority for every manufacturer, for every airline, to provide all pilots and flight attendants with all the information that they need to operate their equipment safely, to understand it. As complexity increases, it makes resilience harder without the proper knowledge. And the most important trait that every technology must have is that it be intuitive. It has to make sense. It has to be additive to one's training, one's experience, and not contrary to it. And so especially for things that operate in a surprising or counterintuitive way, we must be made aware of it and its complications and its implications. We must experience it firsthand in the simulator before we face a crisis in flight with an airplane full of passengers and crew.
Thank you both very much.